Welcome to The Explainer. 6,000 years of innovation. How AI slop sparks a human renaissance. So if you're feeling completely exhausted by this endless flood of generative AI content lately, man, you are absolutely not alone. I mean, we were promised that artificial intelligence was going to unleash our creative potential, right? Make our wildest imaginations a reality. But instead, well, a lot of us are just feeling a deep sense of fatigue. But today, we're going to look at this completely differently. We're zooming out, taking a 6,000-year historical perspective on human innovation to analyze the trade-offs we've made. And, as you'll see, we're going to reveal exactly why this current AI saturation is actually setting the stage for a deeply hopeful, truly vibrant future.
Okay, let's dive right in. Slop. Yep, the 2025 word of the year, representing vapid, unoriginal, forgettable, AI-generated content. You know, it's definitely no coincidence that multiple dictionaries agreed on this. It just perfectly captures our modern disappointment in AI's unfulfilled creative promise. Because instead of an abundance of breathtaking masterpieces, we've essentially been handed this, well, an algorithmic sewage pipe of never-ending sludge. Just vapid, unoriginal, forgettable slop. But to understand why this is happening and why it's actually a good thing, we really have to understand our relationship with tools.
Every time we pick up a new tool, we gain something short-term but lose something subtle long-term. Humans are by nature tool users. When we discover a tool that works, we pick it up incredibly quickly. But there's this fundamental trade-off mechanism that accompanies literally all human invention. Every single time we pick up a new tool, we gain an immediate short-term advantage, sure, but we lose something highly subtle in the long term. And the kicker? What we lose often takes generations to truly recognize. To really see this clearly, let's shift our focus back 6,000 years. Tracking our history from agriculture in 4000 BCE to GPS in the 2000s, we can see how this exact trade-off dynamic has repeatedly played out, and honestly, how the rate of change has drastically accelerated. We didn't just start making trade-offs with computers, we made them with the plow, the pen, the light bulb, and the satellite. So let's break down exactly what we traded away at each of these massive historical milestones. Think about our very first major trade-off. With agriculture, our gain was consistent food security and survival, but our loss was a harmonious, mystical connection to the earth. Before farming, humanity existed as part of this rich, mystical ecosystem where every plant and animal had a sacred spirit. We were completely one with the earth. But when agriculture was invented, nature kind of became separate from us, right? It became a resource just to serve our needs. The buffalo was no longer a sacred peer, it became the puller of the plow. We traded our harmonious connection to nature for consistent food security and survival. And frankly, who could say no to that? Let's move to the next major leap and see how this builds. King Thamus actually said, writing will cause people to lose their internal memory because they will rely on external written symbols. In Plato's Phaedrus, there's this fascinating myth about the Egyptian god Thoth presenting the invention of writing to King Thamus. Thoth claimed it was like a potion for wisdom, but King Thamus argued the exact opposite. It's wild to think about, but even the invention of the written word sparked deep fears that we lose our internal wisdom, basically allowing us to appear wise while remaining secretly ignorant. Now, while agriculture and writing were slowly deployed over generations, let's accelerate through the 1900s, right to the modern day. The pace of trade-offs became blindingly fast. Just look at recent innovations. With electricity, we gained brilliantly lit cities, but we lost the night sky. We lost the meteor showers and our sense of place in the greater cosmos. Then with GPS, we gained effortless navigation, sure, but we lost our physical spatial orientation. I mean, it's gotten to the point where we literally need a satellite's help to drive to a place a few miles away that we visited 20 times before. Which brings us to the climax of this historical arc. What are we losing by letting AI make our decisions, do our critical thinking, and create our art? We all sense that artificial intelligence is a tremendously powerful tool with limitless potential. But we absolutely have to ask ourselves, what are we losing? What vanishes when we let AI take over our critical thinking and generate our art? By framing it this way, it's a lot clearer. AI isn't some unprecedented standalone apocalypse. It's simply humanity's latest, albeit fastest, technological trade-off. Naturally, all this brings up massive modern anxiety about job loss. People are asking, what purpose will humans even serve? But consider this critical perspective shift. It's the end of generic work. AI floods the market with agents that do monotonous, repetitive tasks faster and cheaper. Because, let's be honest, since the Industrial Revolution, we've kind of treated humans like cogs in a machine. forcing people to do monotonous, repetitive tasks on assembly lines or just moving numbers between spreadsheets under flickering fluorescent lights. AI flooding the market simply ends the need for humans to do this robotic, dehumanizing labor.
Let's slow down here for a second, because this contrast between the machine and the human is where the magic really happens. On one side, we have the machine. It offers manufactured efficiency and a sort of sterile, hollow perfection. But on the other side, we have the human, where meaning is found in struggle, discomfort, and risk. AI just does not know how to produce anything truly meaningful because meaning cannot be manufactured in a server farm. Meaning is found in the messy reality of human creation, in the struggle, the discomfort, the risk, and the adversity.
There is a profound truth here. Meaning is found in suffering, especially in the pursuit of something noble. AI doesn't know what hard work is because it has literally never experienced struggle. It doesn't feel the sharp sting of shame for being wrong. And it definitely doesn't feel the absolute soaring joy that comes from failing 100 times and finally succeeding on the 101st try. Wrestling with that discomfort, that is an integral part of what makes us feel truly alive. To really anchor this philosophical point, think of Robin Williams' beautiful monologue in the movie Good Will Hunting. He points out that having knowledge of Michelangelo is totally different from experiencing standing underneath the Sistine Chapel. He tells Will that just because he can read a book and recite facts about the artist doesn't mean he knows what it actually smells and feels like to look up at that ceiling. Having vast, programmed knowledge is entirely different from having lived human experience. And that perfectly summarizes exactly why AI art, poetry, and music so often feel like a violation of human expression. If there is no experience embedded in creation, the creation is just a superficial gift with dazzling wrapping paper, but empty inside. Without lived experience, it completely fails to touch the heart. It might have this mathematically perfect, dazzling wrapping paper, but when you open it up, there is absolutely nothing inside. It is completely hollow. And this is precisely why the next few years are going to be absolutely fascinating. We are on the verge of a massive paradigm shift, moving from an economy of quantity to an economy of quality. Because AI will inevitably devour itself creatively, just regurgitating the same generic outputs over and over again, we are going to transition away from pure volume. We're stepping out of the era of mass-produced sanitized holograms and moving directly into a true human renaissance. In this new economy, a new kind of commodity is going to become the most valuable thing on Earth: unsimulated humanity. It's the ultimate luxury good of the future: real, imperfect, authentic, and surprising human expression. Think about it. When everything around us is flawlessly and cheaply generated by an algorithm, people are going to crave the exact opposite. Unsimulated humanity will be the ultimate luxury. We are going to desperately want things that are real, messy, authentic, and genuinely surprising. The wild part is we're already seeing this human renaissance and the rejection of algorithms in real time. We're seeing carpenters taking immense pride in crafting physical chairs, and businesses purposely using hand-drawn, maybe slightly crooked product labels. We're actually going to appreciate spontaneous speaking with stutters because it proves someone is speaking unscripted, right from the heart. I mean, Gen Z is already ditching screens for physical books and seeking out messy, real romance over AI companions. They're actively choosing real-world adventures over digital perfection. When it comes right down to it, the ultimate takeaway of our entire 6,000-year history of toolmaking is pretty simple. The reward for the struggle is not what you gain, but who you become through the creative process. The temptation to just let AI do the work for you, yeah, that's always going to be there. But the joy of creation doesn't actually come from the final product you spit out at the end. Making mistakes, learning, and wrestling with your medium, that is how you grow. The reward for the struggle is the person you become through the actual, messy, beautiful, human creative process. As we close out this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. We might just be accelerating right out of a dark age of mindless scrolling and straight into the dawning of a new renaissance. The AI machine isn't here to replace your soul. Honestly, it's here to remind you that you have one. So take a moment today and ask yourself, what imperfect, authentic thing will you create to rediscover why you are here? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.